Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mel DeWeese, and each week I bring you information on payroll, HR, employee benefits, and today is no different. But today we are looking and focusing more on technology and emerging technology. We are at a pivotal point as far as AI is concerned, and I've been keeping a very close eye on blockchain technology and cryptocurrency because, in my view, AI and crypto are like peanut butter and jelly. When you have agentic AI agents, you need cryptocurrency in order to make every transaction auditable. And that is the key piece to making all of this work in finances, anything having to do with money, really, because you cannot give an agentic AI agent access, login to your payroll system and your bank account. Okay. Like that's too risky. There's things that are too risky in regards to AI. So that's one factor. And then the other factor is it just works better. The fact that crypto and blockchain technologies are trackable every step of the way makes it all work. All right. So here I am really interested in any emerging fintechs that are going to be transforming the way CFOs and HR managers do their job. And I think the biggest breaking technology in this space has to do with cash flow management and earning money on your cash flow through new platforms that will be emerging or are emerging, and who are the winners there, who's got the best security, and then also payroll. So instant payments are going to be the thing of the future. So waiting for your paycheck for 2 weeks is not going to be a thing. It's going to be, I think, in probably a year from now. I think it's going to happen faster than a lot of employers anticipate. And I believe that some of the reason for that is going to be costs. And it's just going to become so much more cost effective to use AI and blockchain together. And because as we look at this current inflationary environment, every time we turn around, turn on CNBC, any kind of financial news, everybody's talking about inflation and how scary it is. It is very scary. It's unpredictable. However, I know from history that when new technology hits the scene, it can be very deflationary. And many are anticipating the deflationary element here is that you're not going to need as many employees. Obviously, that's one. But I suspect that the other piece here is that your 100 employee staff is now going to feel more like 1,000 employees. You may not be getting rid of anybody, but you are implementing this new technology to become more profitable, save some money, and help your current staff become managers. So you're not necessarily having employees on the white collar jobs anymore. You are hiring managers because these employees are now managing AI and agentic AI. All right. And I don't know that there's going to be as many layoffs as everybody's saying. I think people are still needed throughout this whole process to approve things, babysit the AI, make sure things are getting audited, make sure that there's double checks in the system and so on. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Although I was able to make this beautiful website with Claude in a few minutes, I still had to go through all the art of, make sure that the information that was being used to build this was relevant to what I wanted to talk about. And this has been rebuilt several times because the first couple of times it didn't come out right and things like that. So my point is that although AI is revolutionary and it is bringing forward a lot of opportunities right now for businesses and emerging businesses and people that are willing to learn and put on rosy colored glasses and move forward in this crazy new world that we've all entered into together, I believe that there are going to be some deflationary factors coming up down the pike. We can't just be inflating and having all this new technology coming out. And what I was saying is that even though many people are expecting the deflationary piece of our economy to be from job loss, that may be the case. However, I believe that other jobs will open up. And I have seen that. I did go through a report yesterday showing, I think they're calling them AI engineers, I know prompt engineers is a thing, but there are specific jobs that employers are currently looking for to help them bring all of this into their business, bring agentic AI, bring Clawbot, bring automated systems into their business in a more efficient way with all this emerging technology. And I suspect that certain vendors for businesses will have to reduce their costs. I mean, we're really seeing it from the proposal or the analysis I just did on payroll. Although the emerging payroll companies aren't really that sexy yet, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing. I'm going to go through and again do more research on what the costs are for benefits implementation and benefits admin with payroll on some of these new emerging vendors. It looks like Paychex and possibly Paylocity are really trying to bring cost savings now in comparison to some other legacy vendors. And we went over that as well. However, here I want to see more about what Stellar and Zebec are doing. Stellar and Zebec seem to be the two digital assets that are really focusing on payroll. And I'm curious to see how it's going. Does it make financial sense yet for a business to jump ship from a legacy payroll vendor over to one of these new emerging vendors? And when do we think that may be realistic for the average employer? It may be realistic for some businesses now. Like I've gone through before, it seems to be that the more international a business is, the more of a no-brainer this is. If you have international employees, I think that this is really a no-brainer moving in this direction because of exchange rates and complications between international payments and things like that. Blockchain is really just built for international transactions. So let's go through this. We're going to be talking about blockchain, the payroll battle, how Zebec and Stellar and emerging fintechs are challenging the legacy payroll. And I don't mean to just explicitly name these two vendors. They're just the top vendors. Okay. And getting into my disclaimer here, this is not financial advice, medical advice, health insurance advice, really any advice at all, really. This is just information that I have found that I think is interesting. And this presentation is meant to be for entertainment purposes only, and viewer discretion is advised. So the executive summary here, the numbers that matter and what they mean for your payroll strategy. So keep in mind that 85 trillion run through the ACH network system. All right. And this is from NACHA, and it's talking about how electronic payments and that NACHA governs the ACH network, the payment system that drives direct deposits and direct payments with the capabilities to reach all U.S. banks. And I'm looking specifically for the frequency here. So Natchez top 50 ACH originators and receivers of 2025 now available. Total ACH payment volume in 2025 exceeded 42 billion. So that's per year. That's the answer, per year. And stablecoin market cap in 2026 is 315 billion. Cross-border payroll cost savings via Stellar is about 20 to 25%. 25% of companies are exploring stablecoin payroll, which is up from 15% in 2023. 170 billion Nat Pay annual processing volume, Nat Pay and Zebec. This is from Business Wire here. So as of December 2025, next gen payroll with Web3 connectivity. So Business Wire reported that Payroll Growth Partners, PGP, of the Zebec Network and National Payments Corporation, a leading ACH and document distribution provider, announced a strategic partnership to power next-gen payroll and distribution platform with bank-grade direct deposit infrastructure, optional Web3 payout rails. All right. And then we've got blockchain payroll is no longer experimental. We're seeing 390 to 400 billion in real stablecoin payments in 2025. Emerging players aren't replacing legacy payroll giants head on. They're winning cross-border contractor and emerging market segments first. Zebec's strategy of acquiring traditional payroll companies and upgrading their blockchain backend is a unique strategy in the industry. So they're not necessarily going out and going direct to businesses yet. They are going, and I'm not saying they ever will, maybe that's just their total business strategy, is to go after the traditional payroll and update the backend. And that seems to be the strategy for a lot of these blockchain networks. The convergence point, Zebec now sits at the same NACHA table as ADP, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo. The landscape, who is who, the entrenched incumbents versus blockchain native challengers. So the incumbents are ADP, Paychex, Paylocity. ADP, about 20 billion plus revenue, 140 countries, enterprise grade. I mean, everybody knows who ADP is. We look at ADP reports for payroll updates for the stock market and the economy and everything. They're very integral part of all of this. Paychex is sitting at about 5.5 billion in revenue, 700,000 clients, acquired Paycor for API first architecture, deploying agentic AI, operating margins 40%. Wow. Paylocity, mid-market focus, strong HCM platform, traditional Rails, no blockchain integration announced just yet. Okay, that's very interesting. I would have thought Paylocity would have been all over this, because traditionally Paylocity, especially when they first hit the market, their value statement was that they are the payroll vendor that is technology focused. The challengers, Zebec, Rise, Bitwage, Stellar, Deal, Request Finance, and Tuku. Obviously, Zebec, real-time streaming payroll, annual 500 million annual volume, 250 enterprise clients, NACHA member, NatPay partnership, MasterCard debit card in 138 countries. Rise has a billion in payroll volume, 190 countries. Native fiat Circle partnership and Rise earn yield on idle payroll via Aave. Okay, that's pretty cool. Then we've got Bitwage, the OG since 2014. So 400 million plus moved for 90K plus workers across 4,500 companies. W-2 compliance, 60% plus cross-border fee savings. Stellar Network, not a payroll company, but the infrastructure layer, about 4.5 million daily transactions with PayPal, MoneyGram, Visa integrations. Deal is another one, 22 billion annual payroll, 150 companies. Hire, manage, pay. equipped anyone, anywhere, payroll, HR, IT, immigration for every worker type, all in one platform. So this is another one where you might want to book a demo. Request finance, 2,000 plus Web3 teams, 300 million plus crypto payroll processing, spend management for modern companies. Then we've got Toku, stablecoin integration layer, 100 plus countries, API first for Web3 companies. Hire anywhere, pay anyone, stay compliant, global employer of record, payroll and benefits in 100 plus countries with optional stablecoin compensation for modern teams. Very interesting. More to come on that as I dive deeper into all this. Stellar, the highway, not the car. So I think this is a great example of what we're going to see in other industries. Although there will be vendors, emerging vendors like this, like the Tokus, like Request, like Deal, like Rise, we are also going to see these digital assets just go straight on the back end, or these vendors specifically for the back end of current enterprise systems and current incumbent systems. So how it works in the payment flow. So first the employer funds in USD, and then the bridge is Stripe. So it converts to USDC, and the Stellar network is used. We all know Stellar and Stripe are working closely together, and it settles in 5 seconds. Then it goes into the worker's wallet, the digital wallet, and they're cashed out from there. So 1.2 million plus transactions processed with AirTM for 250K plus recipients in 192 countries. And that's with Stellar. 20% cross-border payment cost reduction. Bigger case study, 8 hours per month to minutes, meaning that administrators are saving a ton of time. 1 million plus to 100 plus workers in South Africa. And this is the Stellar case study here. Bigger scales, global payroll with digital payouts on the Stellar network, making payments really work. Companies that operate across geographical borders face significant operations and financial challenges. And I've pointed this out before, which is why I suspect that, Google has been highly involved in a lot of conferences and commissions and just all over this, because I'm sure it's a huge part of I know it's a huge part of their business, paying out content creators and people across in international ways. So people across the world in international ways. So institutional partners with Stellar are PayPal, US Bank, Franklin Templeton, MoneyGram, Visa, WireX, H2 2025, Nansen report, enterprise grade payment infrastructure. So this is a report specifically on the ecosystem. Stellar is an open source blockchain network designed to facilitate fast, low cost cross-border payments and asset tokenization. And you can read more about that here. Again, like all of these presentations, this is basically a website that I load into a tiny URL, and I can share this with you if you would like to click around and read all of this and make your own assessment, make your own decisions. And I'm happy to share it with you. All you have to do is email me, Melissa at nomadinsgrp.com, or I do have a link down below if you would like to schedule one free consultation with me. And how Stellar compares to Swift right now. Swift will be integrating payments as well. They are also using blockchain, which is getting implemented basically as we speak. But as of right now, Swift is a 1 to 5 business days. Stellar is 3 to 5 seconds. Cost per transaction, $25 per wire. I've paid that before. And then with Stellar, it's 0.00001 fee. Intermediaries with Swift is 2 to 4 correspondent banks. And then Stellar is direct to peer. So this is another security issue with the current system, is the more people that touch your money, the more compromised it is, the more risk there is to moving that money around. So the direct peer-to-peer would eliminate some of that. And operating hours, banking hours only with the Swift and the current system we're in. And the new system is going to be 24/7, 365. Transparency, limited tracking between I'm having a hard time with that word this morning. And the Stellar network is fully on-chain and visible, fully auditable. And that's a huge deal when we're looking at compliance and safety and security and all the things. Currency conversion, 2 to 4% on foreign exchange with the current system, and the new system is going to be 0.1 or 0.5% currency conversions. Zebec buy the payroll company and upgrade the plumbing. So the most aggressive disruptor right now, according to this analysis that I did alongside Perplexity Computer, which I think is just Claude, Zebec buy the payroll company, upgrade the plumbing. So the most aggressive disruptor combining acquisition strategy with native blockchain technology. Strategy 1, build the tech, real-time streaming payroll, 0.0019 per second salary flow instead of biweekly lump sum. So again, like I've talked about before, in this new system, employees aren't going to be waiting 2 weeks for paychecks. People get paid immediately as they work. In March 2026, the first native deployment on Stellar outside of Solana was done, and I have the source right here. The Zebec bringing streaming payroll to Stellar. So Stellar has selected Zebec to bring real-time streaming payroll to its ecosystem, making the first native deployment of Zebec streaming infrastructure outside of the Solana network. And we have MoneyGram integration of 50 million plus users, 450,000 plus in cash out locations in 170 different countries. The Zebec card, MasterCard debit card in 138 countries with Apple, Google Pay, WageLink compliant payroll app using USDC on Stellar, and the Circle integration. Circle is a publicly traded company. Multi-chain, Solana, BNB chain, near Base, Ethereum. So Base is like the Coinbase network, which is becoming pretty significant. Payroll, cards, payments, all in one interface, the super app. So this is coming Q1, Q2. This is from Business Wire. Zebec integrates Privy's wallet infrastructure into Payroll's super app. So they're calling it a super app, blockchain-powered payroll, real-time payments. They announced that, and then they announced today, this is in December of 2025, the embedded wallet infrastructure into the Zebec super app. The upgrade opens a path to connect Zebec stablecoin-based payroll and disbursement rails with Privy, a Stripe company's broad ecosystem. So Stripe's a pretty big deal. Strategy 2, acquire and upgrade. So we've got payroll growth partners and the investment arm that buys traditional payroll companies. And here we have acquired PayBridge. So they have an investment arm that buys traditional payroll companies, and it's called it's called Payment Growth Partners. And then they acquired PayBridge, 300 million plus annual payroll and enterprise mid-market employers. NatPay partnership, 170 billion annual processing with 300,000 ACH clients, a single platform for ACH, Wire, FedNow, and stablecoin payroll. Nacha Payments Innovation Alliance member alongside JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Circle, Serve, ADP. ISO 20022 compliant, the same global messaging standard as Swift and central banks. That's a big one, the ISO 222. B2B integration with JP for institutional cross-border payments. So B2B integration with JP Morgan, 35 million in VC funding, venture capital funding from Circle. Let's see. Okay. So here's the article. So what is, so this is one of the articles. What is the Zebec network? ZBCN, token price, streaming payments, and I don't care about the trading stuff. Zebec network is building the infrastructure for money that moves every second instead of every 2 weeks. Zebec was founded, originally built on the Solana as a continuous settlement protocol for streaming payments. The projected raise 35 million from Solana Ventures, Coinbase Ventures, Circle Ventures, Briar Capital, Republic Capital, Lightspeed Venture Partners. That investors roster matters because it spans both crypto native funds and traditional venture capital. Since 2021, I want to know about the acquisitions. Zebec Payroll is the core product. It handles real-time salary streaming with Web3 companies and through WageLink, traditional employers. USDC Payroll and near zero cost cross-border remittance. It also offers early wage access, the Zebec card, Zebec Save. NACHA Payments Innovation Alliance governs the automated clearinghouse. I feel like Crypto Hulk, like having a cough all the time. Okay, let's get all this cleared out. Okay, the NACHA Payments Innovation Alliance governs the automated clearinghouse, the ACH network, which processes virtually every direct deposit, bill payment, and bank transfer in the United States. In 2024, the ACH network handled 35 trillion in transactions. Zebec joined this alliance in 2025 in December, late December to 2025, positions it alongside institutional members, including JP Morgan. This matters for 2 reasons. First, it validates Zebec's compliance infrastructure. NACHA membership requires adherence to strict payment processing standards, meaning Zebec's technology has been NatPay partnership announced in December 2025 is the practical implementation of this strategy. NatPay processes 170 billion annually for 300,000 plus ACH clients. The integration lets employers route payments through both traditional banking rails and Zebec's programmable Web3 rails for a single platform. If even a small percentage of NatPay's existing clients adopt Zebec-powered features like streaming payroll and USDC disbursements, that represents meaningful transaction volume. Zebec also achieved ISO 222 compliance in December 2025, the global financial messaging standard used by SWIFT, central banks, and major payment networks. This technical capability is a prerequisite for institutional adoption at scale. The most important thing, tokenomics, I just want to know adoption metrics, billion token supply. And then, okay, so this is from Business Wire. This has to do with the acquisition. So they're out here acquiring things, which is interesting to me. NatPay plus Zebec to power next-gen payroll with Web3 connectivity. Payroll Growth Partners, PGP, of the Zebec Network, and National Payment Corporation, NatPay, a leading ACH and document distribution provider, announced a strategic partnership to power next-generation payroll and disbursement platform with bank-grade direct deposit infrastructure and optional Web3 payout rails. So PayBridge, acquired by PGP and now a flagship firm within the group, processes 300 million in annual payroll for enterprise and mid-market employers by integrating NatPay's payroll and HCM stack with Zebec's programmable stablecoin rails. Clients can route payments over both traditional and, I think that this is going to happen for a while. We're going to have to do both, have both open at the same time. Like we talked about before, the combined solution leverages ISO 222 based payment messaging, NatPay's ACH engine, and connectivity FedNow, which is super important. PGP and PayBridge represent exactly the kind of forward-looking partners we look for. Zebec created Payroll Growth Partners as an investment acquisition arm. Multiple sources describe PGP as buying legacy payroll firms and then wiring Zebec's rails into them. So Zebec does own PGP. Okay, I just wanted to double confirm that. Just wanted to double check that we were understanding that correctly. Rise, Bitwage, and other emerging players across border ecosystem of blockchain payroll challengers. So Rise is 1 billion plus payroll volume processed. Earn yield on idle payroll balances via Aave. So that just launched in early 2026, and they have a Circle partnership. So Rise is super interesting, the battlefield where Davids are winning. So it's a David and Goliath themed battle between emerging technology and the incumbents, right? Being a little dramatic here. A head-to-head comparison across the factors that matter most. U.S. domestic payroll, so the Goliaths, which are the ADP, Paychex, Paylocities of the world, dominate with 700,000 clients. And the Zebecs, the Rise, the Bitwage, the Stellars are not competing head-to-head just yet. Cross-border payroll, 3 to 5 days. Again, the advantage is that these emerging technologies happen in seconds and are 20 to 25% cheaper. Settlement speed is in 3 days, and these new emerging platforms are within seconds. Worker flexibility is the current system is direct deposit or check, and the new system is fiat, stablecoins, crypto, or a split. The worker gets to choose. Fee infrastructure under the current system is about $50 to $150 per employee per month, plus floating the income. Then the new system is $2.50 or free on layer twos. Compliance, deep, mature, 30 plus years on the incumbent system, and the new system is catching up fast. Innovation approach, AI bolted into legacy infrastructure. That is exactly what ADP is doing right now. And Paychex seems to be winning in this race to change their payroll structure and bring savings to the customer rather than capturing it for themselves or just adding a bells and whistles to an existing structure that still operates exactly the same. On blockchain, this is all built natively on blockchain with the emerging technology, and the new technology is bolting it on, or some of them are running them alongside each other. That seems to be what the approach is right now, which I think is a smart approach. I'm not criticizing anybody. Emerging markets, limited and expensive under the current system, and the new system is being built on 170 different countries and less expensive. That's the idea. And contractor economy, bolt-on features under the current system, and it's part of the core use and in the emerging system. Stablecoin payroll is real. Stablecoin growth, supply growth here, it's showing the growth in the billions over time since 2023. Business to business stablecoin payment volumes. This is what I'm most interested in to see what the adoption is going to be within businesses. 25% of companies now are exploring the stablecoin payroll, and 225 plus businesses integrated stablecoins into payroll in 2025. 30 million plus active stablecoin wallets, a 53% year over year growth. Again, we're seeing this go up because of the new legislation that came out in 2025 about stablecoins. So we are seeing growth because of that. Estimated real stablecoin payments in 2025 is about 400 billion and 100 trillion plus dollar projected stablecoin circulation by late 2026. Holy shit. That's crazy. Good for them. Man, projected stablecoin circulation by late 2026. That's this year. So that's more than double. Holy crap. How payroll, so Rise report. So if you want to see where that number is coming from, it is from Rise. Obviously, they're a little biased because this is their company and this is what they do. But I believe it, based off of what we've seen as far as how the financial industry seems to be going, wait, what? I can earn 5% on my money that's just sitting around. Like, show me how that works. And the fact that we have all of this inflationary pressure on businesses are really darting around trying to balance their budgets as best they can. And I think that the market is going to find leakages and try to button up their finances the best they can. And this is one of the solutions. So this is one of the directions a business could go to save a little dough. Financial breakdown, show your work. So of course I asked it to show its work. Like, why would a business go through, it's a pain in the ass to change your payroll. I mean, you even talk about changing your payroll with an HR manager and their heart rate goes up to 180 beats per minute. I mean, everybody's having a heart attack just thinking about it because so many things go wrong if you don't pay your employees and everybody's pissed off at you and it's your fault because you're the HR person. I mean, it's a huge burden. It's very stressful to change payroll systems, let me just tell you. Cross-border payroll, 50-person remote team. And my point in telling you all that is it better be good, right? The HR person's like, it better be good. It better be a good enough amount of money. If it helps most HR people, it's like, hey, if it helps the company, I'm willing to put in the extra work. But just know it takes time and it's scary. It's a scary, moving this amount of money around. It's a scary thing to do. Base platform costs. So this is via the traditional ADP. So we're just projecting, putting in some estimates. What could this possibly look like? A group of 50 people. What could this possibly look like? A group of 50 people with cross-border payroll is the base platform is about $75 to $100 per employee per month, which is $45,000 to $60,000. Wire transfers are going to cost about $30,000 a year. If you're doing this many, it is showing how many. Probably most of you don't have that many, but if you do, then obviously that's a huge amount of money to save. Then we have foreign exchange rates, 2 to 4%. We'll call it $60,000 a year. Settlement time, 3 to 5 days. Total annual overhead, $130,000. So moving over to a Rise or a similar platform would take it down to $6,000 to $30,000 a year. So again, for a business that has a lot of cross-border payments and that are dealing with foreign exchange rates, it is a no-brainer. Okay. Domestic and international hybrid, 250-person company. Domestic payroll, 200 employees. Keep on traditional rails. International employees, 50 workers, switch to blockchain. So this is proposing a hybrid approach here. So a blended $105,000 international savings. So what's realistic? Stablecoin payroll for international contractors, cross-border payment rails could save 20%. Crypto to fiat off ramps for emerging markets such as MoneyGram and hybrid payroll platforms that support both ACH and stablecoin. Digital asset compensation options for talent attraction. Some employees care about that. Some of them are probably freaked out by it. It's a polarizing topic, or it can be. And plan for 2027, the super app fully integrates payroll, card, spending all in one interface. Legacy payroll giants could be partnering or acquiring blockchain wet rails in 2027. Real-time streaming payroll replacing biweekly. I really see that happening. I think employees are going to love that. I think it's going to be a recruitment tool. I think it's going to help employees through this next year. We're having a volatile year, and that will probably continue into 2027 unless something major changes. And I think workers are wanting check into cash or cash advancements, and many employers do accommodate these paycheck advances. But if they could just pay employees instantly, that would eliminate the need in that request from employees, and also help employees not be succumb to predatory check into cash places. I mean, those places, I think they charge like 20%. If somebody needs the money now and they go to check into cash and they pay 20%, that's crazy. So if employers can get the money to the employees right away, that might help a lot of people out and help attract employees, maintain employees, and the like. Takeaways and action items: 5 concrete steps: audit your cross-border payroll costs, pilot stablecoin payroll, and ask your current payroll provider about blockchain and integration with AI. Evaluate Zebec's hybrid model, monitor NACHA and other developments, blockchain developments. All right, that's exactly what we're doing. And these are all the sources. If you want this and you want to go clicking through it, I'm happy to share it with you. Happy to share it. My email is melissa@nomadinsgrp.com. I also have a link down below if you'd like to schedule a free consultation with me. For now, it's free. I may add a $100 deposit or something to keep out some spam and people that just want to waste my time. But as of right now, I'm not having to do that. You can just sign up freely. It's not a big deal. And thank you for hanging out to the end and nerding out with me. And I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, comment, share the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.